Hi guys, this is perhaps one of the most awkward things I've ever done. But I've been getting tons of emails and messages about, hey, how was your trip and what'd you guys decide? So I just decided to message everyone at once. First, to let you know, there's no major decision yet. We are still in brain fog and sleep deprivation and trying to get back into the normal routine of things. Notice I have the camera pointing away from the middle of my house where everything that we had in France is laying out. So it'll be a few days before we make a final decision about our future in France. But I just wanted to let you know that we did have a really nice time with Solomon and Malin, and we are so glad that we took them with us. They had such good insight about different houses and their thoughts and feelings. It was very, very helpful to take them there. But just some of the things I wanted to share with you is that one, God provided a really nice church for us to attend. At least gave us the idea of what it would be like to attend a French church where we couldn't understand the sermon. But even though we had a really nice guy translating for us, which was really funny, it was weird to feel like an outsider, but good to feel like that. I tried to put myself around a lot of foreigners here in the United States, but to actually be one was an entirely different feeling. And to not be able to understand the language, to be at the mercy of everyone, was really, really unusual. And to watch my kids respond to that was very good for them. I feel like even just the little time that we were there helped affect their heart and how they will see others from now on. Anyway, the church was a sweet little church, maybe 50 people. And they were so excited to have us there, and they told none of them pressured at all. They said, "Oh, this would be such a big move, but we just want you to know that there aren't very many Christians in France, but that we are a family here, and we would help you through whatever you needed here." So that was really neat. And I mean, this church, it was like so not shiny, so not pretty. It was the most dilapidated looking little building and shabby, and some of the people smelled really bad, and only a handful of them knew any English. It was just so different from our experiences with American churches. So different. We think that the moment something is broken down a little bit, we must replace it with something shiny and new. And just seeing that worship can take place in a variety of ways was really good for our family. Our kids were very moved by the experience, and they really felt the presence of God at the church. We were singing praise and worship songs in French, strangely enough, because they have the words up there and the songs go more slow. You could actually follow along, and that was a really special experience. We met a few little younger families that were very welcoming, and they knew some English, and they were very helpful. So then we went searching for houses, and we have found one that would be a good fit for us if we move there, that they would be willing to rent for 2 years and would be willing to wait for January. So housing, that would be taken care of if that is how God is leading us to move there. And then we went and interviewed at a school. So the town that we were looking at is called Saint-Gamay. It's a town of 5,000. It's like plopped up on the side of a mountain. Very cute, picturesque, very tiny, narrow streets with like bakery and pastry shops and cheese shops, and it's very lovely. Kind of out of a movie, I would say. Little tiny windy streets that go all around the mountain. And so they have one school in their town, and it's a Catholic school. So their public school is a Catholic school, which is so strange to me how that can be, but it is. And so they are actually allowed to pray at certain times, as a group, and do some like spiritual field trips, which really surprised me because France is so non-religious, and here at a state school they do this. So the hours for school are from 8 to 5 every day, and they start sending children to school at age 2. So that was all just mind-boggling. We met with the principal and an English teacher. And basically they said, within 3 months, your children will be fluently speaking French, which is just a little mind-boggling to think that our kids could be learning a different language that quickly. But so they really encouraged us that if we move there to get our children in school right away so they can adapt the language immediately. Let's see. We enjoyed tons and tons of cheese while we were there. Not Malin, she doesn't really enjoy the French cheese, the soft cheeses like the rest of us do. But if my face looks a little puffier and my tummy a little puffier, it's because I didn't know if I'd ever come back. So I made sure to enjoy as many cheeses as I could. So I so appreciate everyone praying for us and thinking about us during our trip. It was neat to watch God at work in our kids and their viewpoints and how it affected them. So it was a very good eye-opening experience for them. To not know the language for them was good, for them to see what it must be like for other people when they come to the USA and not know how to get around and not know how to communicate. A funny story I wanted to share with you was when we were looking at a house in this town. It was like 2 words and had this like an I, U, and X in it. And Nick and I we had 2 relocation specialists that took us around for 2 days. And they were so sweet. We said, okay, what is the name of this town again? And the lady says, now I have to think of it, André-Jules-Boutillon. And Nick and I repeat back together, André-Jules-Boutillon. And she's like, no, André-Jules-Boutillon. And so Nick and I are like, André-Jules-Boutillon. And she's like, no, André-Jules. And we're like, André-Jules. She's like, no. Oh. And they just kind of gave up on us. And we kept trying to practice it over and over. And each time they just shook their head like, no. It literally sounded like we were saying the exact same thing to us. And we were apparently so far off the mark, they couldn't even explain to us what we were doing wrong. So that's encouraging, right? The other thing is, Solomon and Malin's favorite part of the trip was when we visited the Louvre in Paris with all the art and the sculptures, which I have zero art appreciation whatsoever. So this was amusing for me to watch. And so we tried to hit like the famous things like the Mona Lisa, and we wanted to go see the famous statue of the Venus de Milo. And we took one look at it and Solomon goes, I mean, it's fine. It just would be a lot better if she had a shirt on. And we realized that, we're not used to having our kids look at, breasts and penises a lot. So, but there was hundreds of them all over this museum. So that was Solomon's take on the very famous art sculpture of the Venus de Milo. So it was very fun to see our kids. I would have thought the Eiffel Tower would have been their very favorite thing to look at, but they had to go to the bathroom so bad by the time we got there. They couldn't even function. And we walked for like an hour trying to find a bathroom, and there was no bathrooms anywhere. And they were stricken. So finally we went and ate at a cafe. They went to the bathroom. We went back to the Eiffel Tower. But unfortunately, while we were at the cafe, Nick had gotten some Cokes, and the Coke started coming through. While we were at the Eiffel Tower again, they're like, oh my word, we have to go to the bathroom so bad again. And we're like, okay, we know there's no bathrooms nowhere around. And the line to go up into the Eiffel Tower was over 2.5 hours long. And so they're like, fine, let's just leave. So they are so bitter about the Eiffel Tower. And every time they think about it, they're like, the Eiffel Tower, ugh, no bathroom. Oh, that was miserable. Like they felt so miserable the entire time they were there that they have no appreciation for it anymore. But they could tell you for hours and hours about the amazing art at the Louvre. We went and saw a castle one day, old ruins of a castle, and Solomon and Malin were their imaginations just loved seeing these 1,000-year-old walls, and they loved it so much. That was really an exciting thing for them. So, well, that pretty much encapsulates our trip. God opened a lot of doors, showed us a lot of things where we were lacking, there's a lot of differences between like what the company is offering us versus what we need. So we know that we would need a language helper immediately. Like in the small town where we are, there's no English, and so they don't understand English. There's no one to, like, we were having to do like animal sounds, moo, to buy the kind of cheese we were wanting and stuff. Like it was so awkward. So we realized we have a lot of needs that they haven't provided, or they haven't thought of for us to move there. If so, we're going to start that process of just seeing what is available, and we just keep relying on God to work in our hearts and open and close doors. So anyway, that pretty much sums up our trip. 10 minutes of explanation. I wanted to tell you one more thing. We took a train from Paris to Saint Etienne, which is the bigger city near our smaller city. And we met a French guy, who was black French. It's so funny, when he speaks English, it's with this, very fancy, Queen's English. And we invited him to play Uno with us, and he was so excited. And we spent the whole 3-hour train ride talking with him, and he was so helpful. We learned so much about the French way of living from him. And he told us at the end, he's like, I've never met an American family before. He's like, I've met a few Americans, but I've always imagined what an American family would be like. He's like, and you guys are exactly what I always imagined. He says, French people don't laugh very much. And he said, I always imagine Americans as being so fun and loving and happy and enjoying life together. He said, and this is exactly who you are. And I've just enjoyed it so much. And we found each other on Facebook, and he messaged me later and just said that was just a really incredible experience to spend time with you guys. And I really loved it. And he's a really sweet, like 21-year-old guy. And, but he has no family, his was the only child from he and his parents. And then his parents both split and had families with other people. And so he doesn't have family. And so he was so enamored with meeting a family, and an American family at that that was really enjoyable to get to spend time with him and to learn from a real French person their way of life. And he spoke English very well. So that was just a really big blessing. So anyway, thank you, friends. I'll talk to you later. Bye.